Ooh,
Oh, look at you.
fancy.
All right. There we go. We are live. So, welcome to another week of Amazon Seller News Live, everybody. It's been a heck of a last couple weeks for me. We had two hurricanes that blew through Tampa area here, so had to evacuate for one of them, but lost power for both of them. So,
Jeez.
been a
Yep.
little sporadic on my Friday news here the last few weeks, but
Yep.
that's all right.
I
Power's
evacuated for
back
both of
on.
them.
What's that?
I evacuated for both of them.
Did you?
Yeah, because I'm on the other side of the coast as you are.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's yeah, you're over there in St. Pete area, right? So
I'm in
that's
Safety Harbor.
Safety Harbor. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's even more at risk than us. But
Yeah.
thankfully, we didn't flood or anything. We're in a new
Same.
development. We're up higher, but the people around us were not so lucky.
Yeah.
Fences down everywhere, trees down everywhere, power
Yep.
lines. It was
Yep.
not fun, but we're back here to do the news. And so we've got with me today Kevin Sanderson. He's with marketing and partnerships over at My Amazon Guy. Neil Robinson, he's one of the senior PPC managers with PPC Ninja. And of course, Danon Coleman over at TraceFuse, helping you with all your reviews. So appreciate you guys joining me. We've got some really fun news this week. So looking forward to diving into that.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and get right into it here. First one, I think this might have been one of the most devastating news stories for a lot of people out there. Goodbye to custom bundles, how Amazon's new rules could tank your Q4. So Amazon's latest update to its bundling policy, which went in effect immediately on October 14th when they announced this, has made it much harder for sellers to create custom bundles. The changes initially affecting grocery, pet products, baby products, and health and beauty products, so really focusing on consumables, means sellers can no longer mix products from different brands. This hits hard, especially for those who built businesses on creative bundling strategies. So a couple things to note on this. Again, grocery, pet, baby, health, and beauty categories is what it's on right now. But what's really scary for people is that they plan to start enforcing this in late Q4 and give everyone a 30-day notice, which could mean that people's bundles start getting taken down right before Christmas. Hopefully after, but really devastating news for a lot of people.
Yeah. Hopefully they at least let people sell through what they have.
Exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like the listings are just, you're going to have 30-day notice and then the listings are going down essentially. Now, with the way Amazon usually handles things, I could see the notice kind of coming and then your listings going down immediately. We'll have to see, but I just hope that it's after Q4, after Christmas, so people can sell through their bundles.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I've always seen is that Amazon likes to do a swipe kind of right at the beginning of Q4 and clean some, like they try to do a clean house, I feel like, and they go through, sweep, take down a bunch of listings and make sure that they're kind of in a better spot for Q4. And I don't know, this seems like one of those things where they'll be doing it, I think, earlier than later.
Yeah, it's hard to say because it does specifically say in the notice that they will start enforcement in late Q4. So to me, late Q4 means December.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily mean, it could mean end of November as well, and then give you a 30-day notice. So
I wonder if so I can see two scenarios here. One, they don't want to go through all the issues of like banning a whole bunch of listings right during that time. But two, which would mean they would do it later, right after their busy season. But if they need the space in FBA facilities, I can see them definitely doing it earlier, saying, "Hey, that's it. Do a removal order. You're done."
Perhaps, but even if they took all the bundles down, like right now, you're going to have an appeal period.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that appeal period, you're going to have a period before they force removal of those items. So that's going to put them at least into December.
Fair
anyways.
point. Yeah. I think it'll be later. I think it'll be mostly next year.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. But I mean, even with that, it's pretty devastating news for a lot of people who have built their businesses around creating bundles and putting different products together. But it's essentially in these categories, you can't create bundles anymore without the brand's permission and getting a UPC from the actual brand.
Yeah. This definitely affects wholesalers. Like it won't, I don't think it'll affect private label people, because if they're the brand owner, they can create their own brands, and that's bundles, and that's no big deal. So this is targeted specifically, I think, at arbitrage sellers for the most part, or not quite arbitrage, but probably wholesale arbitrage, something like that. Basically, people that are flooding Amazon with completely brand new ASINs, but they are just these bundles, which is a genius way of making money, because you can get that placement, right, and make those sales. But yeah, I think a lot of people are just going to be SOL and have to figure out a new way to make money on Amazon.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate part, because you know, I create bundles. I help a lot of people who have created bundles and things like that as well. And the people that I usually help, or myself, we're focusing on creating bundles that improve the buyer experience.
Yep.
But as you just mentioned, there are people out there that just create 100 listings of just random things and seeing what sticks. And then there's tons of dead listings, not adding any value and things like that. And,
Yep.
and I think those kind of people really ruined it for the people who were trying to actually add value to the customer.
Age old story. That's how laws get made, right? No speeding because two people went wildly over the top and crashed into a bus stop or something like that, or a house or whatever.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way everything goes in life. The worst among us kind of set the rules for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you guys think about? Do you think this will expand into other categories? Because right now it's only in those 4 categories at the moment.
I think so.
Absolutely. There's no question. Like, it seems like Amazon's definitely moving in towards like trying to optimize every single part of their platform to try and maximize the profit, or just, you know, make sure that they're as optimized as they can be as a $1 trillion company. And that means clamping down. And like you said, all those dead ASINs out there that might be getting a few sales a month, or, you know, who knows what kind of visibility they're getting out there. And they just want to clean everything up. Like, it's definitely like a sweeping through the platform, get rid of all of the, we'll say, excess waste that's just costing them in terms of data storage, warehouse storage, warehouse fees, all that kind of stuff. Get it all out of there and focus on, they've always been focusing on the stuff that really, really sells. And, you know, these small bundles that don't really do too much, but they are a nice little profit add for some of those sellers out there too.
Yeah, I know some people who have built a really big business doing this, like hundreds of thousands a year, if not into the millions.
Yeah.
A year.
Same.
And pretty much all of my bundles, none of them are in these categories, so it doesn't affect me yet. But also the bundles that I create, I've always focused on building relationships with the brand. So while some of them might be under my brand, I have permission from all of these brands to be selling their products and creating bundles and stuff like that. So that really kind of goes back to what I've always said, is relationships is kind of the name of the game in Amazon and really life in general. If you've built relationships with some of these brands that you sell bundles for, you might be able to reach out to them, get a UPC from the actual brand, and create the bundle under their brand name and keep selling it.
True.
Yeah. I mean, it will be interesting with other categories. I mean, like, for example, I bought this microphone as a bundle. So it came with like a pop filter and something else. And clearly it wasn't sold by the brand itself of the microphone. It was a few years back. But, you know, looking at some of the examples of on my screen over here of bundles that are in policy and out of policy, it seems like they're going after ones where like I could see like there's like leftovers and maybe potential compliance issues.
Yeah.
So like something that's ingestible or you're putting on skin. And so and baby, all of those are ones that could be high liability,
Very
not
good point.
so much with intellectual property, but with the potential for Amazon
Health safety.
not have exactly, health and safety, and like having some sort of like concern over like, is this actually coming from the brand or are they dealing with counterfeits too? Which I guess you could argue that maybe there could be counterfeit, you know, microphones and stuff like that. But these all seem more like it could be more of like a health and safety concern. It's probably multifaceted, but that could be one of the layers of why they picked these categories.
That's a really good point. I think you're right.
Especially with the grocery, like once you start getting into expiration dates as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, if you have multiple expiration dates going on inside of one bundle, that's definitely a major issue.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. So it would be harder for Amazon to police that if you have expiration dates for, you know, a can of Coke and then, you know, a bag of chips and then something else in there. So
Yep.
It probably just like, we don't want to be in the business of this.
Yeah, I was going to say the exact same thing, Kevin. Somebody posted that on as a comment on one of the posts I made about this, and they brought up that also, in addition to expiration date and all that stuff's really good thoughts as well. But they were saying if you're creating a bundle of, say, different brands of products and you're putting them together, you're also kind of saying that, hey, these products are all good to be consumed together, used together. And there could be a potential for some kind of problem. Like what if somebody bundles Mentos and Coca-Cola together?
Yeah.
Right. Now you're eating them and drinking the Coke.
Or Coke and Pepsi. And Coke and Pepsi don't want to be together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Although Pepsi does often put itself next to Coke in their advertising. So maybe they do want that.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah,
at least one direction there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said about that as well. That if you look at all the examples they have here as well, they're all very big brands.
Mm-hmm.
So it could also be pressure from these big brands to stop this from happening with Coke and Pepsi, for example. Yeah, Coke advertises next to Pepsi, but they don't want you to buy Coke with Pepsi at the same time. So yeah, I think it's probably a combination of all the above: pressure from brands, expiration date issues, products going together that maybe shouldn't be together, and liability issues, because these are all consumables. They go on you or in you in some way, or could affect your health in some way. And so Amazon is trying to limit that liability risk.
Yeah, because they went after baby, but they didn't go after toys.
Yeah.
So that kind of maybe gives you a little bit of hope that they're not going to come after the other categories anytime soon.
Yeah.
But
I would look into alternate business arrangements if you are in electronics or automotive.
Yeah. Better diversify now.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And reach out to the brands and try to get their authorization. Even if you don't create a new listing yet, let's say you have an auto bundle and it's under your brand because, you know, you put one of your products in there, at least get those letter of authorization from the brands that you're authorized to sell your products. And that may be enough to save you, but the best thing to do would be to get a UPC from the brand, create it under the brand, only products from one brand as well. Because that's the other thing they called out. You're not supposed to mix different brands' products. And that's probably one of the big things that the brands were upset about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the other thing is the generic products like the Dawn one here. They mentioned that you're not supposed to bundle generic products, which is a big blow to a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
And that was always kind of the case, but they're really calling out here in this new update as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if that is something that they eventually start going into other categories for the generic products.
Yeah.
And mixing.
Things... Go ahead.
I was going to say, and mixing other products together. Just because now, like Dawn, for example, is kind of like on the hook for the quality of that sponge and the gloves because they're sold together. So somebody might post on social media, like, look how awful this sponge is that Dawn sold me. But Dawn's like, we didn't sell you that sponge.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of difficult because my example was someone who's selling a gift basket. You know, you can go to like your local florist and buy a gift basket with maybe some meats in it and cheeses and things like that. And they're all different brands and they're selling that. So does that kind of destroy the gift basket market as well if you can't bundle different brands together? Because, you know, you're not going to have meat, crackers, and cheese that are all from the same brand.
Well, I would say if you're a gift basket seller on Amazon, this would hurt you. If you're a gift basket seller at a florist, this might actually help you. Because this isn't the FTC saying you can't do this or a court ruling. This is just Amazon saying we don't want this on our platform. Like, you could probably like if you want to do these type of things on eBay, you're probably still fine, I would imagine.
Yeah, well,
this is just an Amazon thing,
right?
Sure.
Exactly.
The gift basket market is just so huge, and if they start going after that one, that would have major implications.
Gift baskets often have some form of consumable in there.
Oh
yes,
and
for sure.
Just multiple different brands kind of pieced together, and they're doing all the legwork of bundling that, making it look nice, right? And it's the exact same as what we have on the screen here. Just show me the difference, right?
Yeah.
All right, let's go build
gift. What happens?
Let's go build giftbaskets.com and do a.
Yes, there you go. That might be a good market to go into right now. Bundles.com and giftbaskets.com.
There you go.
So we got a question here from Karim. He said, I created a bundle and products are integrated with my website through MCF and the bundle shows FBM. Due to this issue, the orders for my website are not fulfilled by Amazon, but he fulfills them FBM. Is there any solution? I'm not quite sure I understand.
He's asking because it's not FBA. Is this just an FBA thing? And I would say no. I don't think so.
They're going to take it down even if you're selling FBM because they're not looking at FBA or FBM. They're going to take it down if it's in violation of the policy.
Yeah, it's just the listing itself, not necessarily where it's fulfilled from.
Yep. So if you're getting a lot of sales on your own website, I would look into a 3PL or some other way to fulfill those products.
Yep. There's a 3PL that's somewhere nearby you, Todd, isn't there? What's the name of it again?
A 3PL near me here?
Yeah. Is it let's see, was it Marketplace Pros? Was it who is it? Your 3PL. Your 3PL, Todd.
My 3PL.
Yeah.
I don't have a 3PL.
Don't you offer that service to people?
No.
Oh, you don't? I thought you started doing that this year.
No, you might be thinking of Amazon Storage Pros. So we don't have a 3PL, but we help people with their logistics.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So you don't. Oh, I always thought you stored their stuff as well.
No.
I didn't.
Dana was trying to tee you up there.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yes.
I was trying hard. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we don't do the 3PL, but we help people manage their 3PL, AWD, their inventory, reordering, shipping, importing, exporting, all that good stuff.
This whole time, I always thought you also did help them with their storage. Oh man.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of happy I don't, especially with Amazon pushing AWD. So,
oh yeah, for sure. Well, then this is the second newscast where I've had a faux pas on what someone does.
yeah, no worries. All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the next news article here. So this has been some really big news as well. Maybe bigger than the bundles even, but probably affects a few less people. But it's growing. So Amazon AWD, which is Amazon Warehousing and Distribution, is facing capacity challenges. So it's leaving many sellers unable to send in inventory. Sellers are receiving messages that AWD is full, and some are being forced to send inventory to alternate fulfillment centers. So anybody not familiar with AWD, it's essentially Amazon's 3PL that they created, and then they introduced the inbound placement fee to try to get you to use AWD essentially. So what people have been doing, instead of sending directly to FBA and paying the inbound placement fee, they send to Amazon AWD. Then you can send it all to one location and don't have the inbound placement fee. But people have been seeing this message here. Sorry, at this time, we don't have the space available for your inventory. But even if they do have the space for your inventory, often they are reassigning you to a different region than what you actually selected. So if you selected the West Coast, they might reassign you to Central or vice versa, depending on where they have storage.
And so I don't use AWD. Is that going to affect your cost on shipping, or is it like, oh, sorry, we don't have space, just go ahead and send it here instead, we'll take care of it?
So it's a lot cheaper to send into AWD. Like it can be a fraction, at least half, if not a quarter or a sixth of the price to send it into FBA, because you don't have to split up your shipments. Or if you don't split up your shipments sending to FBA, then you pay that super high inbound placement fee, which you don't have to pay that for AWD.
Right.
So essentially, since AWD is full or mostly full, people are going to have to revert back to sending direct to FBA or find a 3PL or something like that.
Yep.
And it's super annoying because Amazon is essentially trying to force people to use AWD with the inbound placement fee. And so
Then
people have been moving that way. And now you can't send in AWD.
Yeah. Surprise.
Yes.
And I've seen lots of my clients, they've really started to lean into this AWD, and they're, for the most part, it's been an enjoyable experience for them. From what I've heard,
That's good.
They're taking a lot of the legwork out of having to do multiple shipments and just having your inventory on the drip versus constantly refilling it, right? Like just sending those larger shipments into that. And now that they're full and hitting them with the inbound placement fee, that's going to be tough. That's going to be really tough. And one of the things that I'm seeing out there right now is AWD is even struggling to keep the drip going from AWD into FBA. And we're not even in Q4 yet. And that's kind of something that's extremely concerning to me. I had a meeting with a client yesterday, and he's like, AWD can't keep up with the amount of shipments that I need to keep sending over into FBA. And I'm going into a low stock status every second, third day. And we're 5 days, we're a steady 5 days out from being out of stock consistently. And it's like, well, how do you, right? And all that impacts your delivery time, your conversion rates, all those kinds of things. So it's like,
let's not forget that Amazon then charges you for having low stock.
Right, exactly.
You mentioned that one. Yeah, that's right. And they're putting all of that on. That's all coming from inside the business, right? That you have no real control over. They built a system to say, go over here, use this, it's going to work great. And now the infrastructure is just not there.
Yep.
Does it work better if you have it switched on so you're manually sending stuff over to FBA as opposed to having the automatic drip on? So from what I've heard is you get charged an additional fee if you want to manage it yourself. So Amazon says, front door.
Yeah. So what Amazon says is, hey, we'll take care of it. we know your
Trust us.
run
It
rate.
will be fine.
Trust us, right? Trust us. And
We're from Amazon and we're here to help.
Yeah.
Well, from what I know, you don't get charged extra to send the boxes manually. You get charged the same fee regardless. It's a small, basically like a shipping and handling fee. So they shouldn't be charged extra unless that's something that's recently changed that I haven't seen yet.
I mean, I kind of consider that placement fee extra.
The inbound placement fee?
Yeah.
Yeah. The inbound placement fee for sure. Were you talking about Neil going from AWD to FBA, or were you talking?
Yeah, and the run rate that you send it in. So like if you want to send in additional inventory more than what Amazon thinks should be on the drip, he said that they were going to hit you with a fee.
Where did you hear that from?
Directly from a client.
Okay.
That sounds like
into that, because in my experience that hasn't been the case, because you can send in extra, and they actually recommend that you keep an eye on it in the beginning until the algorithm learns your product enough to be sending enough in. So it'd be kind of weird that they're recommending you watch it and send in extra if you need to, and then charging you extra for it. It should be the same fee. Maybe he's just seeing the fee when he does it manually and not noticing that they're charging the fee when it's automatic.
They just hide it.
or he's seeing the fee for having too much inventory in there.
In AWD.
Just in FBA.
An FBA.
So like,
So
so
the low stock in FBA. So he's getting hit with that low stock fee that you were kind of talking about. And then
that part I would hope
he's got tons.
So with that low inventory fee, I would request a reimbursement on that.
Yes.
And point out that you've got all the stock in AWD. You're not low on inventory.
Right.
And
y'all are in control of that.
Yeah.
And because they did say that they would reimburse supposedly automatically, but we all know how that goes. But they did say they would reimburse if it was their fault for the low inventory, like not receiving stock in time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'll be interesting going into Q4 with this, like, and especially like you just mentioned the algorithm learning your run rate for that. Like we all see, 2 to 3x spikes come December, come Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and I wonder how Amazon's algorithm will keep up with that.
Yeah, I mean,
this is the first year it's been in full cycle for a Q4, right? Like last year we didn't have it.
It was in place last year, but it was super beta. And they weren't really pushing it. They started pushing it when they put in the inbound placement fees.
Well, they got what they asked for.
Yep. Yeah. And regardless, I would keep an eye on your stock, just like it's a normal 3PL. I would not trust the algorithm to handle it, especially since we're going into Q4. You're going to probably know better how your products spike in Q4 than that algorithm is, especially now as AWD is still technically in beta and they're growing. And definitely keep an eye on it. Send things in manually to make sure you're not running out of stock. And they don't necessarily know if you're going to run a special or a sale that's really going to spike your sales, right? So when you're going to do something like that, you're going to want to go in there and manually push more inventory over. All right. Any other comments on that? Do any of you use AWD at all?
I do not.
Okay.
I was planning to, but for whatever reason, and maybe it was a user error on my part, and I should have called you, Todd. It was wanting me to send to California. I'm in Florida, and I don't know if there was a way to change the region. I couldn't find it. And so I was like, well, it was either that, send it, to California, and I'm in Southeast Florida, or if I did it as FBA, I could send the inventory to Hialeah, which is basically Miami area. So I was like, even though I was going to have to eat the inbound placement fees, it was still going to be worth it to me to just send it to Miami, basically.
So it's right at the very top when you're in that send to AWD workflow where you would select the address you're coming from. right in that same spot in the very beginning, you can click on it and change which location you're sending to or which region. You've got East, Central, and West. And so you would have wanted to select Eastern region. And then if you're lucky, it would have you send it there. Lately, they've been rerouting a lot of people to Central in Texas because that's their newest location and they're trying to fill it up.
Gotcha. So how many locations do they have?
Right now, they've got multiple warehouses in California and then multiple on the East Coast and then some in Texas now. But you can't select individual warehouses. You can only select Eastern, Central, or Western, and then it will pick one of the warehouses that they want you to go to.
Gotcha. If I was to guess, they're just going to build more. They're just going to continue building more warehouses. Like this is the direction they pretty much want it to go. They'll work out the kinks, but it was. I was a little apprehensive in general about it, especially with what is their flow to FBA going to look like? This is still relatively new. Like the holidays for me is a big time, so I was like, I'd rather just pay the extra shipping fees and storage fees and at least know it's in there.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's better long term and I can figure it out. Then I'll be calling Todd from Amazon Storage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're definitely working the bugs out. One of the interesting things to me is, do you guys remember back in the day when you shipped to FBA, they didn't have the ability for you to print 4x6 labels?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Label resizer. For some reason in AWD, they went back to that. And when you print the box labels, the only option is A4 paper. But strangely, when you print the pallet labels, you can select 4x6, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know why that's the case.
Hopefully they fix that.
Yeah, you would think so, especially since in the same workflow, 2 steps later, you can print 4x6 for the pallet labels, but not for the box labels. It's like, why? I don't know. But okay, whatever. They'll figure it out one way or another. The programmers will catch up. It's like they copied and pasted the FBA workflow from the 90s or something, or 2000.
Yeah, accidentally copied the wrong database file.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump over to the next story here. So seeing this one from Aaron Cordovez, sorry. So he just highlighting the Amazon's refund administration fee. I'm not positive if this is new or not, but it deducts $5 or 20% of the referral fee on returned items. Historically, sellers would receive the full referral fee back on refunds, but now this new fee is taken out of every return item that you have.
Yeah, I feel like this could potentially and I don't know how long this has been around either, and we have very, very low returns. But what about people in clothing?
That's exactly
this could kill them.
That's the highest refund rate out of all the categories on Amazon is clothing. And
yeah.
That's tough. That's really tough.
But I think they did just lower the fees on clothing, so maybe it comes out in the wash. I don't know. I wouldn't get into clothing, and bless you that do.
I mean,
but
with the noise of Temu and Amazon going D2C or direct to consumer with straight from China, the clothing brand is the first one on the list to be eligible for that, right? So staying out of clothing in general it's a very cutthroat category. And seeing the high return rates, the sizing issues and so on and so like they're all different sizes and things like that. So it could be a backbreaker for a lot of these businesses, a lot of these small brands.
Yep.
So
but there's always been some fee. So like is it just higher? Is it just calculated differently?
No, they used to refund the full
amount.
But there's always an administration fee. I should probably go into like an old transaction statement from like many years ago. I remember they always charge something. They give you back, or is this in addition to the refund administration fee?
Well, they
I don't
always
know.
used to take the referral fee, right? The fee for
Right.
selling on Amazon. But then when a product was returned, they would refund the full referral fee.
Right.
And now it looks like they're not doing that for any products that are returned. They're taking the 20% or $5, whichever is lower, I believe. But one of the things that I noticed is if you look at the time of charge right there, it says when the refund is created by the seller. So in my mind, that's when you go in and create the refund versus the customer initiating the return and getting refunded automatically. But I made that comment on here, and a bunch of people were saying, no, it doesn't matter. It's for every single refund. They're taking this administration fee.
But I swear they've always done some administration fee. And maybe it's just how they're calculating it is different.
I'm going back to 2020 in my managed by stats to see if I can find anything real quick.
I'm looking in my payment transactions, and this somebody in the comments had said, "Oh, I can't go back that far. Never mind," because reports only go back so far. So,
yep.
I guess you need a tool like managed by stats to confirm.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll see if I can find anything. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'll see if I can find a report that tells me exactly what my refunds were.
And aren't we entering in the phase of the longer refund time period as well, where Amazon extends out to buyers the time allowed to return as well? I think that's happening now too.
Yeah, so I did find a comment from one person in here that says he thought it was initiated all the way back in 2002. So perhaps it's something that's been around and just kind of noticing it now.
Yeah.
But regardless, fees everywhere. So you gotta, if you
no
have a high
shortage of
return product, you're gonna have a lot of fees because they just introduced that other an additional fee for products that have a high return rate, and that's going into effect in 2025. So you're going to have this refund administration fee, and then you're going to have another high return rate fee on top of that.
Yep. So let's see.
So I think the moral of the story is to make sure you have a quality product that doesn't get returned very often.
No kidding.
Yeah. And I can't tell based on my reports what my fees were and whether Amazon charged me. I was looking back at 2020. So I can't tell.
I do see, I'm looking at one of my recent refunds, and I have a 75-cent refund administration fee. The referral fee was $3.75. So 75 divided by 3.75, 21%. So I'm wondering if maybe
rounded up, maybe from 20.
But maybe. But what it could also be is maybe they've always charged a refund administration fee, and maybe the part you caught, Todd, is if it's seller initiated, because maybe they're charging one because they have to be the one to do it if it's FBA, with customer service, but you as the seller are going to be charged one. So
you know what I'd like? I'd like transparency on all this. What exactly are we paying Amazon for in a simple way, in a simple to easy to understand document? That'd be nice.
Oh, just read the terms of service. It's simple and easy to understand as long as you're a law firm.
Yeah, I speak Latin and Greek. It's I totally understand all that legalese.
Yeah.
So I just asked ChatGPT when it went into effect, and it's not always correct, but it is claiming May 2016.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I swear I've seen refund administration fees charged before. And so I don't know if they're just changing the calculation on it.
Maybe it's just coming to light,
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's why it goes to show you should have some sort of software to track your sales and all those fees. Like one of the things I've been using Managed by Stats since it was in beta, right? And one of the things that I like about it is that it gives you a breakdown of your fees. Am I able to share my screen, Todd?
Probably. Do you have a present button in the bottom?
I do, yeah. I'll let's see.
Yeah, if you present it, then Todd just has to bring it to the screen.
Okay,
Yep.
cool. So I'll
Yeah,
just
feel free.
so this is
Yeah. Pay
this is
attention
what
to the fees. I mean, we've got fees everywhere. Okay, there you go. I see
yeah.
it.
So this is old, right?
There, yep.
And if I go back, let's just go so 2013, let's say. No Amazon fees. Hold on a second. That's not right. You can see what their fees are and then break it out. This does not look. Oh, okay. So well, anyhow, the point is that if you're not tracking all your fees, like, and with your cost of goods and stuff like that, you don't know what your profit was, right?
Yeah, for sure. And you got to have software to do it at this point because it's just impossible to try to do it manually or on a spreadsheet or something.
Yeah. Not only that, you don't. So with what was it? Vico is doing. Amazon wants you to put your cost of goods in and all that stuff. Forget that.
Yeah, I don't trust any software that Amazon puts out to have my
free.
Hell no.
There's no cost.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Just
We
your
just
soul.
want your data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just the soul of your
I'm
company.
curious, what software do you guys prefer for tracking your profit and loss and ROI and such for your products?
I'm managed by Stats since 2014 or 15 or something like that. So I just never used anything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about you, Neil?
I see with my clients, I have access to a lot of seller boards and I have access to a lot of scale insights. Those are the two that
Scale insights.
most of them are using. Yeah, they have it's nice. It shows a nice breakdown of all the fees. I do know that they're missing some of them. I think some of them, I don't think it's a complete picture like seller board. And I'm not familiar with Managed by Stats, but it looks like pretty robust software there. But 2024, you have to have something like spreadsheets. Don't cut it anymore. And like when I was a seller, I was using E2X, just connected up to my QuickBooks, and it had all my COGS and imported that way as well.
So a number of years ago, I did actually an apples to apples comparison of Seller Board and Managed by Stats, and they're on par with each other in terms of what data is available. The main difference was that with Managed by Stats, you're able to customize what you want to see on certain aspects of data so that you can overlay things and see, hey, if my PPC dropped off right here, what happened to my organic sales? And you can just see a lot more and filter a lot more. So to that degree, I think Managed by Stats is better. It's also more expensive, by a little bit. And so, if all you want to be able to do is log in and see your data and you don't necessarily care about inspecting and doing deep dives into what's going on, then I think that Seller Board is a great product, and they just integrated with Amazon. So to what degree, I'm not really sure, but at Accelerate, they were right there. It was them, Seller Board, Carbon 6's Pixel Me, and another tool I hadn't heard of before. They've all just integrated directly with Amazon. So I don't know if that means that Seller Board also now streams your data to Amazon or what, but yeah,
I'd like to see that.
Well, it's all data that you're probably getting from Amazon anyway. So
it's so easy to connect
to
the back end of Amazon now with a lot of through the API. Like we use softwares and we pull in all that stuff in our backend system, and it's it takes us 20 minutes to connect a client up, and away we go. For all the data we need, and I can see it being the exact same for everything else.
Yeah. I think the only thing that you might not want to stream back to data as your cogs.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
I
Amazon
use a
doesn't need that
tool
info.
called Gorilla ROI, which you're able to basically customize Google spreadsheets. So you basically move data into a Google sheet. I can use it for fees and whatnot. I don't use it as much for fees as I do for like planning. Figuring out like, okay, what were my sales like during certain time periods last year, and coming up with sheets and pivot tables and stuff like that. So I like
nice.
it for that.
That's nice.
It's not as well known, and I'm not an affiliate or anything.
Do you see any popular choices with the clients at My Amazon Guy? I don't know if you're privy to that or not, but
My Amazon Guy uses a tool called Merchant Spring. It's more for agencies, but that's who Mag uses to create reports for clients.
Got it. Okay. Very good. But yeah, get something. I think I'm just looking at the pricing. Scale Insights starts at $78 a month, Seller Board at $15 a month, managed by Stats. They have a free plan, but the first paid plan is $60 a month. So all of them are affordable, and you by far get more information than the money that you're paying. So more benefit, I should say.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, let's jump over to the last story here. Oh, I got to share my screen again. So last but not least, Amazon laid the brandless foundation for Temu. So let's see. Let me scroll down. Amazon trained shoppers to prioritize product reviews and ratings over brand names, paving the way for Temu's success. On platforms like Amazon, generic or unrecognizable brands dominate as customers trust Amazon's reviews rather than brand reputation. Temu took this concept further by emphasizing price over reviews, pushing the rise of brandless shopping. So I highlighted a few things here, and they just mentioned that most shoppers do not include a brand name in their search. Amazon is providing all the information that replaces the brand that you'd normally get from the brand, like reputation and trust. And then I thought this was interesting. Over the past decade, Amazon made buying YTDRGB quad Bayut and all these names that you can't pronounce. Normal. Nobody cares. Because they're trusting Amazon that if the product's junk, they're just going to return it and get their money back anyways. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Did Amazon pave the way for their own biggest competitor?
I think that, I think yes, and only because Amazon is first to market, really, right? So they did definitely set the goal for other companies with enough money to start disrupting the market to come in, right? But at the same time, I think that Amazon used to be the place where you could go and get your quality products at a reasonable price, right? And when I can't remember when it was, 2014, 15, something like that, when they opened it up to any Chinese seller, to any Chinese company to start selling directly on Amazon, which they were not allowed to do previously, then at that time, Amazon was flooded with a huge amount of cheap stuff, inexpensive, also cheap, but inexpensive items. And so you had this lowering, from my point of view and other sellers and buyers that I've spoken to, they lowered the expectation of what they can find on Amazon. Now you have to spend gobs of time sifting through, like, what do I think? Do I think this is crap, or is it just good pictures? You know? So I think they set the stage for that mentality, for the people that are going, I don't care about quality, I care about price. I just want a cheap piece of crap that'll cover my right now issue, right? So I think that Amazon paved the way for that, which then led to their competitor.
Yeah. Yeah,
It,
I definitely agree. Go ahead, Neil.
So it's interesting, like thinking about the reviews. You're talking about reviews and ratings, and I'm an avid, the Amazon truck circles around my house maybe 3 times a week, avid shopper, and I am so cautious about the review system because these 5-character Amazon brands, they pop up out of nowhere. Like I go through niches and niches and niches on Amazon, and suddenly there will be a new listing that pops up that's got 1,800 reviews, and it was never there before. And it just shows up overnight. And all they did was they switched the images, they changed the category, and all of a sudden it's a new product. And the reviews aren't even relevant. So like when I'm consuming on Amazon, I'm always going, sorting my reviews by newest and seeing what the latest reviews are saying, because those reviews from 2020, 2018, they're all junk to me. They don't mean anything to me anymore. And so I'm looking at, the last 5 to 10 reviews and being like, is this actually a quality product? Is this product here for a reason, or is there something else kind of going on behind that? And just speaking a little more about the brand. So branded search terms and branded sales is something that we track at the agency. We can track it through our search terms and through the search query performance report. So we can measure that month on month on month. And, we're seeing about 10% branded search terms coming through in terms of sales. I mean, it all depends on the size of the brand, but for that small seller, 10% is typically what they're searching for. So there is some brand recognition on Amazon, but you have to work so hard to get that against those 5-character brands because they just compete on price and they don't care about much else.
Well, they're black hat, right? So so they go in, they repurpose some listing. And honestly, I wish I knew how they did it. I have had the thought a number of times, I would freaking love to go and create a full-blown black hat account and listing and just test stuff and then expose what happens, right, to everyone out there. Like, this is what you need to look out for. This is how you've locate it. This is how you recognize it, stuff like that. Like, because I'm in the review business, right? So I've spent all of my waking hours finding reviews that are in violation of Amazon's community guidelines, but now we're working on deep diving into fraudulent reviews, right? Man, you wouldn't believe the stuff that I've seen out there once I've gone looking, right? And so it just goes to show that all of this stuff, not just reviews, but listings and everything, there's so much black hat and fraudulent stuff out there. And that's what has made Amazon, to me, untrustworthy in terms of what am I looking at, causing me to spend more time on Amazon, which I'm sure they love, but causing me to spend more time finding what I'm looking for, right? Like, the first thing my wife does is she looks, is this a Chinese company? Because now they have to have the address there. Is this a Chinese company? I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I would, you mentioned there that you're spending more time on Amazon and they probably love that, but I would guess one of the metrics they probably track is the amount of time from when you come on the site to check out. And that's a time they're going to want to decrease. Because the more time you're spending, the more chances that you get distracted and you go do something else and then you don't buy what you were looking for.
Well, yeah, I can see 2 ways about that, right? Like, if they can be TikTok and have you doom scrolling through Amazon all day long, I'm sure they'd love that because it's just more branding.
You're more likely to buy.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as you're buying stuff. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they don't like people like us scraping data off there, because we don't buy anything. We're just data gathering. But back to like setting the stage. Ultimately, I think they did, and I think they did it by getting greedy.
Yeah. And it really makes me wonder if there will ever be a backlash, or if people just want cheap stuff so much that it won't ever happen. But if there'll ever be a backlash against, these XYZ brand names selling cheap stuff that breaks on you, Probably depends on the category and what the product is, but you got to imagine that eventually people will get sick of, dollar store stuff at Amazon prices.
I don't know, man. Dollar stores exist all over the place, and the only reason they're going out of business is because now you can get dollar store crap online.
True, but you can go to the dollar store and get a pair of scissors for like 50 cents or $1, and this same thing would be probably $5 to $10 on Amazon because you're paying for shipping, right?
Yep.
So that's why I say, are they going to ever get fed up with buying dollar store stuff at Amazon prices? Because
I gotcha. Yeah.
And even Temu prices. Obviously, Temu is subsidizing their stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But in the end, the price for this pair of scissors is going to be more on Temu than it is at your family dollar store or Dollar General or whatever the case may be, most likely.
Or at least we hope.
Yeah.
Well, and Amazon's copying that Temu business model too, right? Like they announced that a few months ago that they were starting to investigate that direct Chinese factory to the American consumer. And I was, the first thing that kind of came into my head was, how do they handle refunds, right? It's illegal to send defective product back to China. And you're already, the difference between Amazon and Temu right now is delivery time, right? Like essentially it's AliExpress style thing. But once we start factoring, okay, I have to wait 20 days or 18 days for my product versus the 3 prime delivery time, that's fine. But then it shows up and you get a defective product, and all of a sudden, how pissed off are you if you waited 28 days and then you got to wait another 60 days before you get your product, and then maybe it's good enough, right? And if not, Amazon's on the hook for that refund.
Yeah, that's why I say that you would hope that there'll be a backlash against it at some point, but it's hard to say. I don't know. Do you have any thoughts, Kevin, before we wrap up?
Yeah, in some ways, Amazon kind of paved the way for this, but I think it was also a market force that was probably going to happen regardless. I mean, if you think about when I grew up, you had the TV where it was like you turn the knob and then it would say UHF.
Don't date yourself,
to the bigger
Kevin.
channels. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm dating myself here. But there was a handful of networks, there was a handful of independent channels in your area, and then cable had 40 channels, and then everything just got bigger and bigger and bigger and more options. So even if you look at there's a lot of consolidation of big name brands like airlines and car companies, and they're all kind of conglomerating. But then below that, there's a bunch of small stuff in a lot of not quite so expensive industries like airlines and whatnot. And so even the fact that we're having this broadcast and you don't have to get on cable access to do it, it just shows that the world is kind of decentralizing in some ways. And so I think with brands and e-commerce kind of opened that up, and so eBay opened up that more. Amazon just kind of rolled out the red carpet in a lot of respects, even before they rolled it out for Chinese sellers. Just the fact that you could start a brand on Amazon, and that was something people were doing in 2015 and before that. I think it's just the market kind of moved that way, because at the end of the day, I think consumers don't really care. It's if you order flashlights, do you care it's got the name brand on it? So most of the stuff they sell on Amazon is not, it's branded, but it's not a name brand where if you said Coca-Cola, people have an emotional attachment to it. Whereas I think we're going to have less brands over time. I don't think my kids are going to grow up and be like, oh yeah, such and such is a great brand, which is really just because we watched a lot of commercials that told us it was a great brand.
True. I think that I think you're going to have a couple of segments. The people that don't care about brand at all, they just want the item and they only need it to work for however long. I think, though, that this is an opportunity, and I think what we'll see is people who are genuinely trying to produce a good quality product at a higher cost, of course, but produce a good quality product. I think you're going to see a marketplace who's I'm willing to pay twice the cost
Yes.
for a quality product that I know is going to last me 10 times longer. I'm in that boat personally.
Aaron Cordova is a great example of that from our last story, right? Zulai Kitchen.
Yeah.
They built an amazing brand on Amazon, premium products. Now they're moving into retail.
Yep.
And, now I've bought some of his stuff. And if I'm going to get something, I kind of go look for their stuff first.
Yeah.
Because I know it's super high quality and good stuff. So
Yeah.
it's an opportunity. Yeah. People are going to buy the cheap stuff, maybe more. But if you can build a brand and rise above, there's a very big opportunity there.
Yeah. I think it all comes down to positioning, right? You have to be able to communicate in a very short period of time that this is not a piece of crap.
Yes.
Right. And that's going to be, I think, the largest hurdle for brands who are trying to produce a genuinely valuable and high quality product. Their issue is going to be convincing someone right off the bat, this is not a piece of junk. I have put time, effort, and money into ensuring that it is a good product for you, my consumer. And the only way that you can do that, in my opinion, right now on Amazon is through your photos. So your hero photo has to stop them and make them go, this looks like it could be good. And then video, right? And the only way that you can make that determination on this is a brand I'm interested in buying is that it has to not be China English, right? So there's obviously some an a somewhat easy way to tell, like, if this is like, oh, great for you, dear, this is most amazing, like, okay, that sounds like China English perhaps. And then the other is the video, right? If it's Chinese music on and like no audio whatsoever, as opposed to somebody like, let's say I did a video on my blankets, which actually I did a long time ago. I never even put on my Amazon. I did a bloopers reel for my blankets, right? You can see that I'm an American guy in America that's trying to sell a quality product. I think that's what the spread is going to be. You either don't give a rat's ass about quality, or you do, and you have to go searching for it, and that's what you're going to be looking for.
Yep, absolutely. All right, guys. This is I think we could keep talking for a while yet, but we are over the top of the hour, so let you guys get to the rest of your day. Appreciate everybody out there watching, and this has been awesome. Another episode of Amazon Seller News Live. So appreciate everybody. Have a great one.
Thanks for having us.
Bye, everybody.